Hey guys, it's Lolo here. What up? Thought that today I would talk about my first location that I'd experienced on the International College program with Disney. I was in merchandise, which was my first choice that year. It was awesome because I wanted to experience merchandise because when I was going to school at the time, I realized that I wanted to perhaps manage my own retail store, so I thought, okay, Disney, perfect experience. And boy, was I ever right. I was lucky enough to work at Coronado Springs Resort in merchandise, where I actually met one of my bestest friends, and we are still in contact. We visit each other every year. It's awesome. And I have made so many friends there that I still am in contact with today. And I feel like I say that in every video, that I am so in contact with all my friends, but it is so true. Like I can't even like explain to you how true it is that you will meet people that will be in your life for the rest of your life. It doesn't matter where they are in the world, they will be there for you, and you're gonna call them up more than you will your best friend back home, I'll be honest with you. So anyway, back to merchandise. So I worked at Coronado Springs in merchandise at Panchito's, and I loved it because Donald Duck is my favorite character, okay? Donald is number one. Always. Maybe Peter Pan too. And also, oh my gosh, don't get me started on favorite characters. That's for another day. Anyway, back to merchandise. So in merchandise, there's probably tons of videos that you could watch on this, but you are clearly watching mine. So obviously something brought you here. Maybe it's my blonde hair. Maybe it's just me. But let's face it, maybe it's the blonde hair? Who knows? Anyway, why do I say anyway a lot? Okay, so at Panchito's, we worked cashier, we could do heart of house, and we could do kind of like it was kind of heart of house, but not really. Like at night you were a stalker. So we had those three roles. So usually I was either heart of house during the day, or I was stalker or register at night. When I was stalker at night, I would just make sure everything was stocked, so we had the right counts out on the floor, bring them out from the back, because during the day the heart of house team would actually be unloading our carts that we'd get in, all the boxes, and putting them in the shelves in the back and making sure that everything was going right, and that we would be doing things like through FIFO, which is first in first out, which is a huge safety step because you want the first product. So like if milk is there, you want to make sure that the one that has the closest expiry date is out first, because you don't want to have that in the back and then someone buy expired milk, because that is a safety hazard and that is a no. So when we would be in register, it's pretty much we'd be assigned one register. We had one in the back, one in the far back, and two up in the front. Well, kind of three, but two areas. So we'd be assigned one of the registers, and that was kind of like your area. Like when there wasn't anyone to ring through, we would be just kind of outside our register and just kind of like tidying up shelves or talking to guests, playing with guests, interacting. You got tons of guest interaction that way. And then, you know, the normal, like when people do come through, you obviously ring them through. My favorite part about Panchito's was we sold Pandora there, and I love Pandora. I think that my first program I bought like 5 or 6 charms. Like I literally filled up my bracelet, and I started with nothing on my bracelet. So I loved explaining them to guests because it was literally like I have so much emotion for it, because I can tell them like my favorite Pandora charm and how you get them for like different meanings. So that was my favorite thing, and it didn't help my shopping habits, because every time there was something new, I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta buy this on break. I gotta buy this next day off. Yeah, that's the one like downside, if you can call it, to merchandise, is you want to buy everything, because let's face it, Disney merch is my jam. This is Sven. I think I have about 3 Sven merchandises right now. He's my favorite. I also have a Mickey Mouse and a Minnie Mouse. Ooh, and a Donald Duck. This Sven, I looked forever for him because he's so soft. Aren't you? Yeah. Oh, merchandising also taught me about the famous pin trading. I went to Disney World. It was my first time on my first program. I had never been before, so I had no idea what this pin trading was all about because I'd only been to Disneyland and that wasn't really something I could get into because I didn't go all the time. So I wasn't really into, like, I was there for the rides and characters. I wasn't there to just go and trade pins. But it was something that I was introduced to in merchandise, and I actually loved it. I learned so much about pins that when I went on my second program and I was in full service, we just had a pin board, but I actually could answer questions about pins and how the whole thing worked before even being trained or asking my leaders about it. So that was really fun. So I really enjoyed merchandise because of course, the family that you make, which I've said in my other videos as well. But you do really make a family there, and ultimately, like, your location depends on the type of work that you do and the actual, like, lifting and doing of things. But it doesn't really matter because the friendships that you create when you're there working is far more important than any location or any role that I could stress to you. If you have any questions about merchandise, I would love to answer them. Hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or even in the comment section below because, you know, help a girl out. Comment, subscribe, you know. Told you to buy all the merchandise.